How much big did you say this lake was? We're only, what, 5, 6 miles from Eagle River? How far? 7 or 8 miles from Eagle River. Canoe?
Absolutely, that's part of the
So
program.
there's the canoe, it's part of the program. And you also teach, see there's the cabin back there. um, you also teach cross-country skiing in the wintertime. So you've got trails out here that they go on?
Mainly I meet people at different trailheads.
Okay, all right. And snowshoeing, you said?
I do snowshoe nature hikes, yeah.
All right, cool. So there's all kinds of awesome things here. It would just be a wonderful getaway for people. What's this like? Sandy, tell us about yourself and what you do here.
All right. Well, I was born and raised in Green Bay. My first visit to Eagle River was when I was in high school. I was allowed to come up at a workshop at Trees for Tomorrow, and that changed my life because I'd never realized that there were jobs like the instructors had there, so I kept asking them, what do you have to do to get a job like this? They said a 4-year degree. I hadn't planned on going to college, but that spurred me to do it. I have a degree in forestry with a recreation emphasis from UW Stevens Point. And as I graduated in December of '87 from Point, Trees for Tomorrow was looking for a teaching intern, especially focusing on cross-country ski lessons. I jumped at it. I remembered how much fun I had there. It was an awesome experience. I learned more in my 6 months there than I did 4 years of college. I hate to say it. But it was just a winter position, so I moved back to Green Bay for a while, worked part-time at a nature center, Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary. And long story short, a year and a half later, Trees for Tomorrow had a full-time position and called and asked if I'd be interested. And so I got on board full-time with Trees in August of 1989. Had a great run of 18 years teaching there. I started to teach other outdoor adult skills classes, rustic furniture classes, ski workshops outside of Trees, and found that that's really where my passion lies, in small groups of adults working or doing activities where they're engaged and it's fun and relaxing, and they kind of have a transformation where I'm trying to connect people with nature through all the activities that I do. And so in 2007, I had this dream of starting my own outdoor school. This is it, Lotto's Log
Cool.
Cabin Outdoor School. I came upon this cabin at an auction in 2007. Had it moved to my property. They had to dismantle it and reassemble it and all that. Then I did the finished work of putting in the windows and doors. And from here, I do a lot of different outdoor skills classes, mostly rustic furniture. Could be a twig chair up to a log headboard. I actually do a lot of miniatures, so mini chairs up to king-size bed frames. So those are all offered by appointment, as well as along with the schedule that I have of regularly scheduled programs.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's go inside and take a look at some of the things that you do show, or that we do build. And I'm excited to be learning some of these things today too.
All right. Well, this is a pretty popular one-day class. This is a twig chair. They are functional. You can sit in them, and they're actually more comfortable than they look.
Okay.
But a little pillow on the seat wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Oh, that one's cool
Yep.
too.
We want bench.
Bench.
Right. Baskets are a 1 to 2 hour class. I do picture frames as a 1 to 2 hour class. This twig headboard is about a half-day project, and behind it I have the log headboard, which really can be put together in 1 day. People don't realize that, yep.
Wow.
And then I had one gal come, she did the headboard one day and came back and did the footboard the next morning. So I've got all the tools, people come, I provide the materials, and they walk away with something that their friends go, oh my gosh, where did you get that? I made it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How cool.
Yeah.
That is very awesome.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, they come and you teach them. Besides teaching them, you also have the materials so you can sell them the materials at the same time, and they can
Sure.
purchase whatever level that they want to do on that. Now, do you have them already prepared?
The logs are
The
peeled
logs
and
are
dried
peeled and dried.
ready to go, yeah. So
Okay.
it takes quite a bit of pre-planning and stocking up.
Yeah, so you do a lot of the work involved in this whole process, but what a great thing.
The beginning of making a twig chair.
Okay.
What's neat is I give people step-by-step instructions, you know, and it's like a recipe. You look at the ingredients, you can tweak it however you like. If you want your chair to be taller, wider, longer leg seat, you can do whatever you want. I'll help make sure that it's going to be structurally sound and functional. But a lot of times people ask about the finishing touches that are kind of the artsy part, and that's where I back off and let them do their own thing, because it's their chair. It should
Right.
reflect what they do and
Right.
their personality.
Cool.
So, we start with the two back legs, and what we're working with is alder, which is a very overabundant shrub in our area. It grows fast. After you cut it, it grows back straighter and faster than before.
Really?
So there's no
Okay.
shame. I feel no shame in cutting alder. In fact, I consider it neighborhood beautification.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Alder, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
So you find two that just kind of seem to have some of the same curvatures, roughly the same diameter. The really neat thing about rustic building is there are virtually no rules.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to have two totally different diameters for the legs, as long as it's going to be structurally sound, you could do that. If you wanted
Okay.
one longer than the other, whatever, you can do it.
Very cool.
The only rule is that you can't put a nail or screw through an end piece like this. If it's too close to the edge, it's going to crack.
Okay.
So the rule of thumb is look at the diameter of the material and be at least that far away anytime you would be putting a nail or screw through.
That far being, what, 2 inches?
This is about 1.5 inches. This one's 1.5 inches. This is 1.25 inches. Anyway, minimum, at least 1 inch away from the end. And I'm a big proponent of pre-drilling the holes to also prevent any splitting as they dry.
Okay.
This material is green. You can work with it dry. When we do classes, I like to use green because we're using loppers to do the cutting. Once it's dry, you pretty much have to use a saw, and that's not part of our classes. So you find two that kind of work together, and then I don't know if you noticed, I marked little arrows.
Okay.
So this is going to be how we're going to be looking at it as the back of the chair.
Okay.
And those arrows indicate what direction the screws need to go in.
Okay.
So, generally where the rungs are going to go are at about 9 inches, 15 inches on the back part of the seat, and then the front part of the seat is actually 16 inches, so there's a little bit of a downward slope that makes it more comfortable.
Okay.
And then up here we've got 27 and 37. So pre-drilling the holes. And the hard part is making sure that they're in a straight line and going in straight. And the really neat thing is that most of my students have never even used the drill before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
That's
to
awesome.
come away with knowing how to use it and feeling comfortable with it, it's a whole new level of empowerment. I just love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I already have these marked, I'm not just randomly. So before we get into the project, I have them practice using the drill on just a practice piece, get comfortable with it. It's good to just have the power on the whole time, down and out. A lot of people think they need to put in reverse to back it out. You don't have to, in fact, it's better if you don't, because it'll clean the hole out better. Keep it in forward. Okay.
Very good.
And then, the most difficult part is putting the screws in with the cordless drill. I like to use a square bit because it holds a lot better than a Phillips. You know how you can get going on a Phillips and it'll just start to ratchet, the ratcheting sound. Usually that's a case of one or two things. It's either that the bit is a little bit off angle of the head of the screw, or there's not enough pressure. What's nice about these square bits is they just hold so much better. And I use coated deck screws, which go in a lot easier too.
Okay.
And put the screws in just to the point where they're poking out the other side. This piece is a little larger diameter than I usually use.
Okay.
And I just automatically grab this size screws that I usually use, but I'm going to have to put the larger diameter. So this is a 3-inch screw instead of 2.5.
And the screw should be how much longer than the piece of wood?
At least a ½ inch. An inch is even better. But then you need to make sure that you've got a decent diameter rung to put it in, because if that screw goes in crooked, you don't want it coming poking out the side of a rung. So this is adequate, especially for a backrest. The seat piece, I would want to have a little more length of the screw. And the weight bearing parts, but for the back, that's fine. And we do put the screws into the point where they're kind of recessed too, so it's going to be more than a ½ inch into the other piece.
Very good.
Not too bad. Okay, and then we do the same thing to the other back leg.
Okay.
Alright,
So, yeah.
in making one of these, we usually start with the back because finding these long pieces that are straight, not easy to do. So we get those first, and then also find the front legs right away. We build the back, which is basically a ladder with 4 rungs. Then we build the front, which is a ladder with 2 rungs, and attach them together with the arms and the side rung. And at that stage, it's still a little wobbly, so we put in diagonals on the sides to keep it from racking front to back. And we put an X in the bottom to stabilize it from twisting motions. And on the back, you can put a lot of different decorative Y's and crosses, and each one of them is providing some stability as well. Anytime you make a triangle, anytime you're connecting a horizontal to a vertical, you are sturdying it. You are making it more sturdy. You're bracing it. And sometimes you might even put one lower on the back and an additional one on the front, and then it's rock solid.
Very, very sturdy. It is. It is. Now, these also, people could do these too. They can build these here. Is that an option, or is that one that you just have for sale?
This is one that was cut from that doorway. So I don't have any real big slabs like that. I do have some smaller ones that people could make benches out of.
Cool. That is cool. And you said this wood here was
Buckthorn.
buckthorn and then grapevine?
Curly willow.
Curly willow.
Yeah.
Oh, that is just awesome.
And these pines got damaged by engraver beetles. Like bark beetles killed them, but left those pretty marks.
Oh, isn't that cool? Engraver beetles. Look at that. I thought you'd done some fancy work on those. Wow, that is awesome. Oh, it does. It looks like they're hand engraved. Isn't that unique? Did you stain those, or is that?
All I did was put on some linseed oil and polyurethane.
Awesome. Wow, that is really unique, isn't it? Cool. Oh, and here's another cool thing. I bet people could make those. There's so many different things people could make if they did come here. You said you had some miniatures
Oh, yes.
and things. Oh, look at here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at those cute little things. Oh, now I don't want to sell that. I don't want to sell that dollhouse. I've got a big, huge dollhouse. Look at these cute little miniature things. Oh my gosh. They're so cute.
That's cool for a desk for business cards.
Very cool. Those are adorable.
My new personal challenge is to see how small of a chair I can make without it cracking.
Oh, that
Wow.
would make me crazy.
Now, do you
Oh,
use nails? I saw
Yeah.
little finishing nails, tiny finishing nails.
Yep, even this little one, the frame is all nailed together, but the seat pieces are glued on.
Okay,
wow.
I get too frustrated.
Yeah, that's,
There is a higher frustration level with these than the full size. Believe it or not.
oh, that is so cool.
They make great business card holders.
They do, yeah, it's adorable. Well, thank you.
Thank
This
you.
has been great. I'm
We
excited.
had talked, when I first met you, and you were telling me about this, and I saw your brochure, it sparked me up because relaxation for me, which my husband doesn't get, is getting my chainsaw and going out in the woods. That's work to normal people, but to people like us, we love that kind of thing. So when you said you did this kind of thing and get away from it all, to me that was like, wow. And as a counselor, I saw this as a great opportunity for partnership and for giving people the opportunity to look at rebuilding their lives. My dream, as you had said, you know, you were honing in on your dream all those years. You know, you were doing pretty much what you wanted, but there were just some specific things. And now here you are living on your own land, doing your own thing, running your own show, living your own life, living your own dreams. And that's what my dream is to get everybody to do that. And so many people don't know what that is or how to even get there. I think they need to come to a place like this, to get away from whatever chaos they're living in and get away. And you've got a place here that you actually rent out for retreats and to get away. And I'm like, wow, how cool would this be to put together a program where we could look at rebuilding your life along with the chair. Because so many people, and actually even my husband on the way up here, I said, well, hey, I'll have you build the chair and I'll videotape. He said, no, I'm not handy. I couldn't do that. I'm like, oh, you're missing the point of this whole program then.
That's the first thing you need to change.
It's the change in thinking.
Yeah.
And it's that paradigm shift that it's not about I can't. It's about being willing to learn.
Willing to try.
Willing to try. And my belief is that, you know, God made all of this and He made all of us for a purpose to do what we're gifted at. And if we don't do what we're gifted at, we're going to be miserable, I feel. My experience personally and all the people I've worked with, we either quit, we get fired, or we get sick. Those are kind of the three options. And I didn't like any of them.
Right.
I've done them all.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to do now is to do my dream, which is, and I'm still floundering through figuring out how to make that happen. How can we work together, me as a counselor, to help people with that emotional, mental change while you're doing what you're doing? Because I see it as a great putting it together. What we have to do in life is we've got to build a foundation that's going to be safe to sit on. Now, if I didn't have your leadership and your guidance here, I would not dare sit on a chair that I made without learning.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the same thing. I am learning from the experts right now on how to build a successful business, doing what I love, and getting off on the right foot. You've got to be willing to listen to some folks. And for me, you're always wanting to second guess somebody else. You know, like, it's okay to do it a little bit different than the next person.
Right.
It's your thing.
Right.
But but on the other hand, you also have to listen to the expert, make sure that it's sturdy and safe.
Right.
So there's that balance on developing your uniqueness, but also having that mentor. And so that's part of what I'm going into, is a whole mentoring training program to help kind of pull people out of whatever pit they might be in, because that's kind of my thing I love to do, and to empower them to become whatever it is they want to do. And if they end up living in the woods, making chairs, cool.
Right.
If they end up, a lot of people, especially speakers, things have changed so much now, like educators. You're an educator and it had never dawned on you. Cindy, you could teach the entire world how to do this. So this is what we're going to do. We're putting this together. I'll do my little counseling spiel. You're going to show us how to do these chairs, and we're going to put it on a video. And you people, whoever you are, will have the opportunity to purchase this series and learn how to do this, even if you're living in, now I've got people following me from Ethiopia. They're not going to run up to Sandy Lotto's cabin to build a chair, but they could build one in Ethiopia probably, if they have wood, which I'm sure they have wood wherever. So we can still help people worldwide, and that's not something that you had thought about, or even doing that mentoring that you do for people in your field. How do I get started in my community doing what you do? You've got so much to share, and you just don't even realize it, and that's what's so cool about this. When I talk to you, you're like, really? I'm like, yeah.
So what I do.
Yeah, and I'm sorry it took so long that we didn't have the opportunity to make a lot of advantage of over the summer, but I didn't realize you did this out here, so you can even do this during the winter?
Yeah.
Wow, so I feel a whole lot better now.
Yeah.
So now we just need to get working on getting some people to come and do a winter retreat out here, and that would be really awesome. So I'm excited about it. Yeah, I'd kind of like to look around and see how we can finish this up, and we'll kind of take some pictures of how to finish this, but anything else you want to?
Well, yeah, before we leave this topic, some of my favorite sayings I post here, my biggest one, if you're afraid to make a mistake, you'll never make anything.
Oh, if you're afraid to make a mistake, you'll
And
never
that's
make anything.
the neat thing about rustic is you really can't go wrong, because if it doesn't turn out, funny thing was, I got my first material by picking it off the bonfire pile. And at first I was still afraid to cut it, what if I did it wrong? And then I went, wait a minute, I was going to burn it anyway.
Yeah.
So what's the harm? The worst thing is I'm out a little time and a few screws or nails, and it could still go in the bonfire if it doesn't turn out, right? So that's what really freed me, is just, there's more, and this is where it came from. I like to use things, I like to be a conservationist and only cut what I need, use what I then cut, and that kind of thing. But, nothing goes to waste. The scraps could go heat the cabin, so I use everything. And, but yeah, you just really can't go wrong. That's the neat thing.
That is. We just had the forester come in and mark a bunch of stuff and cut things off, and we've got all the dead stuff laying around now, treetops, and I'm like, hey, I see furniture, and they're like, I see junk, they should come and clean this. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
we can do stuff with that.
Yeah.
If nothing else, burn it. But what we've got there is pine, and we've got some birch, and we've got hawthorn, buckthorn.
Oh.
Which of those? I mean,
Believe it or not, that bed, the main part of it is buckthorn. The
Really?
twigs, yeah.
this.
Yep.
Yay.
This is curly willow, but everything else is buckthorn.
All right.
It's very durable.
It's
very
dirt,
hard.
and it's nearly impossible to get rid of.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get rid of it.
And it's weather resistant too, so fences, trellises.
Cool.